Whenever brands come to us and they need an audit for their Google Ads campaign, the main thing that comes up is that their Performance Max campaign isn't working. And oftentimes they have tried changing the bid strategies, changing the budgets, but they've never actually dived into the feed that's powering it. There are 5 things that really matter when you're looking at optimizing your product feed. And I'm just going to go through them quickly in this video so that you don't make the same mistakes. So, why the feed matters more than your bid strategy. The Performance Max campaign uses your feed to determine the audience, the keywords that you go after, and a lot about how the campaign performs. So, the data in there is super important to inform Google's algorithm on who you want to show the product to and when you want to show it to them when they're searching and the keywords that they use there. So if you're missing titles or attributes or have crappy images, you're unlikely to perform well because Google can't match your products to the buying intent and to the user that's searching for it. You don't want to optimize for bids, you want to optimize the data that Google uses. So this is the same as all campaigns, really, the conversion data and the strategies you use to provide Google with customer match lists. It matters a lot more, really, than the bid strategy you use. Because if Google has the right data and enough of it, it can hit most targets that you have in your campaigns. The first thing is making sure that your product titles are dialed in. It's the biggest lever because that's where the majority of the keywords that you serve for will come from. So there's a few ways you can structure this, and I wouldn't say this is the master cheat for getting titles for your products, but this is a structure that we use for a lot of our clients, and it works pretty well. So you don't want simple things like sterling silver necklace because while some people search that, it doesn't give Google or the user much information about that product. You want to have specific titles that use a lot more keywords that people will search. So here you can add the brand in here if you wanted to. Sometimes this can go at the end as well. It doesn't really matter where it shows. It depends on if your brand means something to someone that's searching. So for the Gucci's, the Louis Vuitton, Nike, those brands are going to be a selling point of that piece of jewelry or that product. So going at the start makes sense. But if no one knows your brand, you just want to have it in there, have it at the end. And then what we're doing here is adding in more keywords. So sterling silver layering necklace, the size of it, 18 inch, and hypoallergenic. So here we'll already pick up more keywords than the previous product title because we'll show for hypoallergenic jewelry or 18-inch chains or layering necklace, but you also still show for the sterling silver necklace here because it's featured within that longer tail title. Search terms match the titles. So generic titles match generic queries. Specific titles match buying intent queries. Fix your GTINs and required attributes. This is not something that's technically required, but when you add it, there is, I would say, a noticeable performance improvement for having this featured. The GTINs, brand, NPM, condition, availability, these are all tabs. These are all columns in your product feed that need to be filled and should be filled for every single product. It doesn't necessarily warn you. I mean, you can see here that sometimes it will, but the GTIN one, for example, will come up as one of these yellow warnings here. So it will say that it's not impacting clicks. But I think you know that if Google's saying it's not impacting clicks but still flagging it, there will be some sort of invisible disqualifier or silencing of that product that you might not notice but could be there. So what I'm saying is if you have GTINs, if it's a product that's already sold elsewhere, you're likely to have these. You just have to find them, add them. And if it's your own product, maybe consider buying GTINs for those products, or just adding an NPM that's sort of, you know what it is and it's unique to you. It might not do anything, but it's worth adding in there as well. The other fields mentioned here you should definitely have. So the brand, condition, availability, definitely always include in your product feed and make sure that they are up to date and accurate. It's the worst thing when your product feed shows a product as available and in stock, and then they go through to the website and it's out of stock. And sometimes that doesn't get flagged and disapproved by Google in time. So you're just wasting clicks through to the website. Custom labels are super important because it allows you to filter products into different campaigns or different ad groups and optimize on them differently than you would otherwise. This just gives you some more control. There are 4 custom labels you can use, or maybe 5 custom labels you can use. Custom label 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can use them to split campaigns by anything really that matters to your business. So people do hero SKUs versus your other products. Some people do margin tiers, and then you can separate campaigns based on target ROASs or based on what performance you need to have break even or specific margin goals for those. You can do bestsellers, you can do new arrivals, sometimes you can do seasonal and evergreen ones. So if you have Christmas collection, then you can add a custom label, and then you can just make sure that those aren't included in July, for example. A lot of the time, we will mark bestsellers using a Google Ads script, and then that just means that any products that show promise, have good conversion rate or good ROASs, will be in their own campaign where they'll be pushed harder than the bulk of the products that maybe aren't performing so well. Supplemental feeds are the way that you can add a lot of these custom features or update your feed or optimize your feed without having to edit them directly in Shopify or directly in the Google and YouTube app or directly in Symproses, if that's what you use. This just means you can use a Google Sheet, Excel, a CSV, and edit them when they're just on Google Merchant Center. So here you can do pretty easily A/B test titles. You can also do the custom labels. You can add the missing attributes like brand or NPM or GTIN or color. And it just makes it so much easier to edit these. As long as you have ID in the first column, all the column headers will be matched, and then they'll be overwritten, I would say, in Google Merchant Center. The 5th thing is making sure that your images are good. You want to be continuously testing here. So sometimes we've seen that lifestyle images work really, really well. Sometimes it's images just with a white background behind them. It's worth A/B testing these or trying one, seeing how it goes, then trying the other. It's also making sure that these are good, high quality images of a good resolution, good quality. It's simple and you can see what the product is. You don't want to make it too confusing and show lots of products with yours being one in the center. Just show it on a white background or just show it clearly in place in a lifestyle environment. You also want to make sure that you have no text overlays, no watermarks, and no logos. Obviously, if they're on the product, that's fine, but no logos overlaid on the image, just because Google is very difficult with these and it will disapprove them. And most likely anyway, that the text will be too small to read when it shows in the Google Shopping carousel. So there's almost no point having them there. You want to make sure that all your hero SKUs, you audit them pretty regularly just to make sure that all the attributes are correct still and that the images are good. You can optimize the images, descriptions, and titles as you go, similarly to how you would edit ad copy in a search campaign. This is exactly what we do for our clients and what we did for a jewelry brand, where we also have a case study video on our website and on the YouTube. And this feed work alone was a really huge contributor to the fact that we made them $100,000 in profit in 90 days on Google Ads. Really optimizing the feed allowed us to show for a lot more search terms, a lot better search terms, and massively improve the ROAS of their Performance Max campaign. If you want us to take a look and audit your account, or if you want us to run your Google Ads, then just drop me a message on Instagram or go to the website at jvmarketing.com and ben.ppc on Instagram. Thanks.